Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about more antibody stuff and we're going to go into vaccines. So first off, antibody classes. There are a couple and we'll talk about them now. So the first one, immunoglobulin M, is like the first response. So when there's like a threat, the immunoglobulin M is the first antibody to arrive at the site. Then comes immunoglobulin G, which is a second response. This is more potent, I would say, in the initial response, and it promotes phagocytosis by the macrophages, which we talked about in the previous video. Then there's the immunoglobulin A, which is found in like sweat and mother's milk. And we get the immunoglobulin E, which promotes the release of histamines. We talked about histamines in a couple of videos prior. It's just part of the inflammatory response, and it's responsible for stuff like blood cell dilation and stuff like that. Finally, we have the immunoglobulin D, which are like the receptors of the B cells. You can watch, I think, like a previous video of mine where I talk about the B cells, their origin, and stuff like that. Right now, the vaccines. There are 3 types of vaccines. The last one is split off into 2. So the first type is living vaccines, which I think most of us have taken, I hope. So it's basically a very dulled down and weakened version of the pathogen. So what this it's the most effective one, but it can go haywire. So if like treatment and procedure is really ill handled, the really weak pathogen can still attack the body. It's the most effective because it fully exposes our immune system to it, its antigens, its methods of attacking, like what toxins it uses and stuff like that. The next type are like dead pathogens. This is less effective, but it is good in cases where like the patient is of like a risk group or something like that. So in this case, like the methods of attacking and toxins and stuff like that are not exposed to the immune system. Only the antigen is exposed, so the body does have some like learning, but it's not that effective. And finally, we have parts, which split off into 2. So the first type is like the toxins that the pathogen uses are turned into like a safe form, but are still very similar to the original type. And then when it's put inside the body, the immune system recognizes it, and it learns to combat it. So when it sees it again, it can fight against it. And the second type is we use technology to create a very similar antigen to one that a virus uses. This can get a little finicky at times, as we need like an antigen that is not prone to being mutated or anything like that. Alright, so in this video we talked about the antibody classes, the different types of immunoglobulins, and vaccines. Alright, thank you.